Thank you everyone for being here. I'm Selma. I know the film is sitting with you, and I appreciate that it's a hard moment, but it's a real pleasure to be here with Kaouther. And firstly, I just wanted to say how extraordinary it is to have made such a powerful film out of something so simple. I think, as you said, just a girl who's crying out for help, an ambulance 8 minutes away, and the ambulance can't move. Why? That's a basic question. And then from that, everything comes. So much is displayed about the nature of Israeli occupation and the Palestinian people. So just firstly, could you just talk a little bit about how the idea came to you when you first heard that recording to turn it into a film, and what steps you took?
First of all, thank you very much for each one of you for coming to see and to hear the voice of Hind Rajab, to bear witness. And thank you, Lina, for this incredible space. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Salma. You know, when I heard the voice of Hind Rajab for the first time, I was in this period of my life. I was in the middle of what we call Oscar campaign with my previous movie For Daughters, and I was about to start the pre-production of another movie that I've been working on for several years. And at the same time, I was glued to the news, following what was happening in Gaza, and asking myself, you know, we've been depressed in a way, and what does it mean to be a filmmaker, storyteller, when the reality is beyond what we can comprehend? And then I heard the voice of Hind Rajab. It was on social media. It was small extract, this child begging for life. And it hit me hard, and I couldn't unhear it. And I had this strong feeling of anger, sadness, but also helplessness. And I asked myself, what can I do? I'm a filmmaker, and I think that cinema can be a great tool. So when I heard her voice, the decision to make a movie, because, you know, social media isn't a great place to hear or to remember, you know, it's a place for scrolling, amnesia. And she was one child among thousands and thousands and thousands. So I thought maybe I can honor her voice by putting it in a cinematic form where people can sit, listen, and bear witness, and maybe, if it's too hard, do something about it. So this was how everything started. So I put aside the other movie. For me, it wasn't the right timing to do it. And I've been working on this movie since. Actually, we shot 1 year ago, almost 1 year ago. And yeah, here we are today.
Thank you. I mean, one of the things I found when I heard about the concept of the film, I didn't want to see it because I was seeing so much of the news. I was following Gaza very closely, and I felt I wasn't really prepared to go to that place, which was so hard. But I knew what happened. I felt I know what happens, and I don't really want to expose myself to more. But what I found incredible when I watched it was how there's this killing, you know, very sadistic cruelty, but the way that what's going on with the medics in the Red Crescent, the way that they bond is like an upward journey. It's so inspiring. And what you find in their characters, what you've shown from using their actual words, is the tenacity, the bravery, the loyalty, the compassion, the humor, you know, the resilience. And that being captured, I thought it does so much to explode so many, you know, these standard stereotypes we have about Palestinians, you know, victim or terrorist. So that was very brilliant. for me. So that's the thing that I was, one of the things I really admired in it. So just with the Red Crescent, how did you start putting together their voices? And I understand that there were parts of the real footage or voices that the actors were hearing at the time, that you held them back, that they... Can you explain how that worked a little bit?
First of all, I wanted to say that you are not the only person that was afraid.
Yeah.
Even me doing this movie, I was afraid. I was scared to death. But when people make the step, like you, all of you, being brave, you know, often they tell me this movie changed me, which is, you know, what I really wanted, you know. You know, when people are afraid, I often tell them, it's not your life, thanks God. Don't look away. Watch it, and if it's too hard, do something about it. Then about, you know, when I decided to do this movie, I did two things. Actually, I contacted the Red Crescent because it was a small extract on internet, and I heard that they recorded. They are a call center, so they record and they recorded all the conversations. So I reached out to them to hear all the recording, and they shared with me. I was lucky enough. They trusted me, and they shared with me 70 minutes, and everything was in the recording, actually. From the killing of Layan, the cousin, in the phone, we can hear the killing of this girl, all the conversation with him, till the bombing of the ambulance. All those elements were in the recording. So when I started thinking about the responsibility and my responsibility, you know, and my legitimacy to tell this story, you know, it was important for me, before taking the decision to make the movie, to talk with Hind's mother. Because without her, not only approval, but blessing mainly, I couldn't do this movie. So we had this incredible conversation. She's a very courageous woman. At the time, she was still in Gaza, mourning. And she told me, I want justice for my daughter. So if this movie can help in any way, please do it. So, you know, it's such a huge responsibility. So from that point, after receiving the 70 minutes of recording, which I couldn't hear the recording all at once, it was very hard, you know, and but not doing this movie wasn't an option for me. It's like staying silent, being complicit. So what I did, actually, I transcribed the recording, what is said in the recording, in French, so I can have a distance, you know, from the recording, and I can function, you know, in a more rational way with those material. And then I reached out to the 4 heroes from the Red Crescent, and because, again, you know, because my work as a filmmaker is to choose, make choices from which point of view I need to tell this story. There are several points of view. I could have told this story from the point of view of the car with the little girl, with the mother, maybe from the tank, you know. But I thought that those who listened are like us, because my first encounter with the voice, she was talking to them. So, and they are not in Gaza, they are in the West Bank, so you have this distance, you know. So when I made the decision to tell the story from their point of view, I needed to know what happened around the recording. And I talked with them a lot. They wanted me to tell this story because they paid a very, very heavy price at the Red Crescent. It wasn't the only killing of their colleague, you know. And from their testimony, I wrote the screenplay that I shared with them to have their feedback. And I knew that this is a story where it will be scrutinized, you know. And it's a story anchored much in truth, because there was a great work done by forensic architects, they are based here, to investigate, which kind of weapon, which tank, and with the satellite image, where were the tank around the car, and they did an incredible job, So at some point, I thought that the proof are there, and the Washington Post published a full piece, investigative piece about this. I thought that I can't do a movie to explain the proof, the proof are there. We are done explaining. I needed to use the cinema for this thing that I love in cinema, which is empathy. You live with other character coming from other culture, but you relate to them. And so this was also my job. And then there was the decision making of, should I film the real person or should I take actors? And was like the choice to make. And quickly understood that not all the four of them wanted to be filmed, For example, Mahdi, the coordination officer, he said in the movie that if there is another photo added to this wall, he will resign. And this is what he did, actually, after the killing of his two colleagues that he sent, And he did everything in his power to protect them, but they were killed. So it was too hard for them, And I had also this impression that I need, with the tools of cinema, to go back to this moment when she was alive. When I heard her voice, she was alive, and to do a movie in the present tense. And how you do this, you bring actors, But at the same time, I knew that it's a very risky choice, because people think always about actors like it's a fiction, And I needed to have this contract with the audience that those are actors. They are vessels for the real character, and even acting is not enough, because they weren't acting, actually. It's what you see in the screen is their genuine reaction. I didn't like in a normal movie those kind of director who are control freak. I ask a lot of things from actor. In this movie, we shot mainly one take, and I can see that they are not acting. It was beyond performance, Because I needed them to fulfill an impossible or very difficult equation, which is to be faithful to what is said in the recording, word by word, but at the same time to be in the present moment. So what we did actually to fulfill this impossible equation, that they learned as actors do all their lines as it was said in the recording, word by word. And when we start the shooting, they were hearing the voice of Hind Rajab for the first time in their headsets, So that's why their reaction weren't acting for me, They knew their lines, but their reaction were really genuine.
Well, it really, yeah. I mean, that's quite a process, and I mean, but so many points that you picked up there. I mean, you get that immediacy and the spontaneity, but then also what you were saying about the need for the mother's, the need for the mother to be on board with this and her desire for justice. And I think with this film and other films which have been coming out of the region, but mainly about Palestine, you're getting this increasing focus on the individual, like the named individual, when you've had, over 20,000 killed children now since October 2023, most of them unnamed. But Hind Rajab, it's becoming, you get more energy around the one story and the justice and the identification. So to emotionally convey it in this way is a very big part of the legal quest for justice. And I understand that you were in Doha with the family who are now outside and the Red Crescent workers themselves. So that must have been a very powerful moment. I think the other thing about, just as an observation, but just the other thing that the film shows so very well is the difficulty in trying to do the legal thing, this idea of the system of coordination and diversity in opinions towards that, because there are often these systems of law where where Palestinians are being told since the time of the British Mandate, like, if you participate in this committee, you might get a reward, but the system is so imbalanced, you know. But if they don't participate, then there's a reason to exclude them. But if they do participate, it gives it legitimacy. And you can see this again and again in the system of occupation. And I was just wondering, what did you learn from the actors or about Palestine that you didn't know before? Were there any specific things that struck you on the making this film?
Yeah, as you said, you know, when you hear that there was an ambulance 8 minutes away, the first thing you think about, send the ambulance right away, you know. And what I learned actually that you have, I mean, we all know this, we have a dominant and a dominee. We have the dominant who can put rules, impose rules on the dominee, and the dominant don't respect even those rules, you know, and we see it, you know, in this case, because they did everything by the book, and at the end, they are bombed because there is no accountability. Totally. So they can do it, and they can get away with it.
Yes. No, thank you. I think I know that you have to leave at 5:05 sharp. I've just noticed the time. We have 15 minutes. There's a question over here to open up to the audience. 1, 2. 5:15 is okay. Azim, thank you. One here. The gentleman with the, yeah.
Thank you. Hi, just firstly to say thank you for an incredible, powerful film. I can't say that much about it. As you said, sometimes reality is beyond storytelling, but clearly you made some really important and really hard decisions in the film, and I wanted to focus on one of the micro ones, that it was Ahmed and Omar playing games, and your first thought is, what the hell are they doing? But I guess in trauma, you do things you don't imagine doing. And my question was that difficult to put in that scene because you didn't want to discredit their hard work and their seriousness? And second, was there any other scenes that were really difficult to put in? Thank you.
This is a great question, because we talked a lot in the editing about this scene. Actually, Omar told me, you know, they are human. And the human are not logical beings, you know. They do things, and this is why I love them, you know. And Omar told me that it was his way, playing games, to hijack his feelings, you know. So he focused. So you have to wait for the green light. What you can do, you know, again. So it's a way to hijack his attention, you know, not to feel all the stress and the pain by playing this game. So I was like, yeah, during the editing, what? They are playing a game? While, and finally, I thought that I should keep this scene because they told me about it, and because it makes them human, you know? They are human beings, so it's like this. They are not, you know, logical. And I found it, faithful to what they told me. And at the same time, Omar, when he watched the movie, he told me, I'm seeing myself in Mu'taz. They became very close. I mean, I put them in contact quickly on after the casting. So,
thank you. I mean, another question here.
Yes, it is such poignant. It grabs you. It's been talked a lot, but always in a hush-hush way. So my question is, why is it not distributed widely?
actually, it is for a movie like this, because when you do an Arabic-speaking movie with subtitles, the market is not very welcoming, you know. It's not like an English-speaking movie with star. It's not the same thing. I knew it because I've been doing those kind of movie from the beginning. But we thought that we need to have a fight for this movie because we wanted to echo the voice of this little girl. So one of the first things we did when we ended the editing, to not keep this movie in his niche place, and to invite, people who are not interested, to see this kind of story. Or we had like several set of ideas. One of them is to ask for celebrity to endorse the movie, and this is why you have like this. We have these incredible credits, because we were thinking maybe we'll have one of them, because we live in a world that people are interested in celebrity and trust them, and we know how things work, And we were really surprised because all of them wanted to, after watching the movie, wanted to participate and support the movie. It was at the end of the editing. And then we needed to have a big festival. Otherwise, nobody will watch this movie, So we were at Venice Film Festival, and when we were at Venice Film Festival, the reaction and the reception was so incredible, and we won an award. And for another movie, you would expect, talking about another subject, a huge distribution. It wasn't the case. I knew it, especially in the United States of America. It was very, very hard. Now the movie is playing there. We have one of our producers who is distributing it and doing an amazing job, but the movie will be released here in the UK Friday. So no, we are having, we are fighting for it and the movie is shortlisted for the Oscar, in the long list of BAFTA, and all those platforms are, as Selma said, she was afraid to watch the movie. I know there are a lot of people who are afraid to watch the movie, and we need every spotlight so people can hear about the movie and make the step, because after making the step, they can talk around them, and this is how we can make the voice of this little girl resonate and echo beyond, culture and border, and to remember, because this is not a story, this is history. We can't afford to look away, so, yeah.
Anyone else? Has anyone got a question? Andy. Thank you.
Kaouther, thank you very much. Just going back to Selma's earlier question, do you think if there had been footage of the event, would you have used it? Or do you think the voice itself, the fact that we do have that interior monologue, that interior voice, but we don't have that visceral sense of violence to the extent that we've become inured to it?
Sorry, can you speak slowly, because my English is not very well.
Sorry, Kaouther. I'm just wondering, if there had been footage, visual footage of the event, would you have been at all tempted to use it? Or do you think it is the immediacy of the voice itself that allows us access to that
footage
violence?
From the car, you mean?
Yeah, or not necessarily from the car, but footage outside of that.
All the footage. This was mainly a question that I was asking myself, because I had a lot of material and how to edit or to work with those material. So I had this incredible moment after the bombing of the ambulance with the phone filmed by one of the colleagues of the Red Crescent, filming Nisreen talking on the phone. This was the only, image I had from their offices. And this image was all over internet, not all over internet, it was shared, but nobody can notice or understand what it is when you look at it. Also, the images at the end of the car and the ambulance, they were all over internet. And I was thinking that to really see nowadays, because we are drowning with images, to really see, you have to know why this image exists. And this is, cinema can do it, I know that when people see the ambulance at the end, which is, I'm sure a lot of you saw it on internet, they will not see it the same way on internet. So, I used the recording, those footage, and it was important for me to tell the story from this angle. And there are a lot of things that I wanted to add in the movie, but it wasn't. You don't have like because I imposed to myself some set of rules, you know. In doing this movie, I like constraint because I came from a very poor cinema. I did documentaries, and you are always facing constraint. And I understood with the time that constraint make me more creative because I have a small place where to work, you know. So taking the decision not to go out of those offices, being faithful to the recording and what is said in the recording made me do this movie that way.
Thank you. There's a question here. Here, one here. Kelly? Yeah.
Thank you. I think when they were introducing you, they may have mentioned you're one of the more important voices in Arabic cinema, but I think most people here would agree it's probably world cinema at this stage. Having seen Four Daughters as well, we're talking now, I guess, about docu-dramas. I'm curious to see what your perspective is entirely on this particular art form. I guess I struggle a bit with modern dramas and suspending disbelief, but I guess with docu-dramas, there is not a disbelief to suspend. It kind of forces you into a very real empathy. I'm curious if the new film that you paused to make this is also a docu-drama. I wonder what you feel about the art form and why it's so powerful, so important, and why you choose it and do it so well.
Yeah, this is a great question because I did my, when I was in university, my thesis research about the frontier between documentary and fiction. And for me, when you start practicing filmmaking, you are like this person walking between, I don't know, France and Belgium, you know? And you don't know if you are in France or in Belgium. You don't know if you are in documentary and fiction, you know, because when you do documentary, you do mise en scène, and people are aware that you are filming them. And when you do fiction, you are filming a real person reacting, sometimes in a very genuine way. So this is something that I was thinking about a lot, you know, during all my filmmaking. Actually, my first movie, my first feature film was a mockumentary. So. I think that, you know, being in the frontier, like in real life, it's always dangerous because you have all those institutions who want a total separation between genre. And when you came with this form, you know, they can't classify you. So it's like a cognitive dissonance, you know. I know that some people don't like this, you know, like, what is this movie, you know? I said it's a movie, you know, like because you can, and I love Abbas Kiarostami, the Iranian filmmaker. Close Up for me was one of the aesthetic choices, aesthetic shock, not choices, because he said once that we do cinema using fiction documentary to tell a truth, you know, beyond all those classifications. And I think that he's right. And for my next movie, it's a pure fiction for the first time. But I'm using the documentary style inside it. And it's mainly, I can say the theme, it's about how people don't like to hear facts, but they love a beautiful story, even if it's not, you know, factual. So how the storytelling is a very, very dangerous tool. And actually, we shot it. It's a wrap. just after Venice, because since I put it aside, we were about to lose financement. So I needed to shoot it, and now I need to edit it, but I'm here. So
Thank you. Thank you for your question as well. There's one, I think there's one here and one in the front row. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we've got 5 minutes.
So my question was quite similar to his, actually, about kind of as an artist, and the role of an artist is to a degree to have an interpretation and to make that available to the public through your art form. But I will ask something slightly different, but I think it's a really interesting subject. What was your experience kind of screening this film in Western spaces? Because here we're in like a kind of a very safe space, you know, I'm from the Middle East, and I feel a lot of solidarity in the room, and I think we were all crying and sniffling. But what was your experience screening it in front of those kinds of like more international audiences, so to speak?
we screened this movie in a lot of places from different culture, you know, in Europe, but also in the Middle East, in Tunisia, my country. And I was amazed by the reaction are always the same, you know. So I felt that it's something that goes beyond who you are, because it's about a child. And we all were, I don't know if the sentence is right in English, children. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's something about us, you know, deeply, and we all have or a child or a niece, or so the reaction is similar, you know, all over the places where I've been.
Thank you. One last question. You're okay? All right. Okay, there's one very last here. Thank you. And then...
Thank you for this opportunity, for allowing us to be a witness to it. I know sometimes it can be, we can feel very powerless in just watching the social media and not being able to do about it, but this opportunity did make us feel a little powerful in the sense that at least we are witnessing and not looking away from this scene. And I was just asking ChatGPT how to ask this question that I wanted to ask in a more sophisticated manner, so here it goes. Given that this film deals with a high-profile case of state violence, while the conflict is still going on, what were the biggest legal or logistic hurdles you faced in securing the audio as well as screening this kind of sensitive film in the Western world? Kind of like what she asked. Like legality and the logistic hurdles.
The biggest obstacles faced in making the film while the war, the genocide is ongoing. The state violence is ongoing.
Yeah, this is a great question, because when I started, you know, you stop another movie, you start working on this movie, and movies take time, you know, to be made, to be developed, financed. It's a long time. And what was incredible, the energy I had around this movie, like people wanted me to tell this story. There was something about, you know, silencing the Palestinian voice that was unbearable, you know. But at the same time, I had a lot of people telling me, oh, it's too early. How can you make a movie while the genocide is still happening? And I was like, yeah, what? So what? What should I wait? Like, do it in 10 years? And I was like, if I wait, there will be a trial, and everything will be sorted out, and then I'll arrive as an artist, like, you know, movies done about the Second World War, an artist to tell a story about history. I needed to do this movie right now because I thought that there will no be accountability, as if, you know, we all know, and maybe this movie with other things can be a way to ask for this, you know, to ask for accountability, to ask for justice, because we all want peace, but you can't have peace without accountability and justice.
Exactly. I think that will be the note we end on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.